That was a pretty sick little commercial, hey? Happy New Year's, guys. Welcome back to the channel. It is no secret that in 2022, I definitely slept on the content creation a little bit, and I've explained it a couple times before. I kind of shifted my focus more to a racing mindset, just to give myself the best ability to perform as an athlete instead of trying to focus on content creation. Don't regret it at all. Definitely 100% worth it. But I set a New Year's resolution for 2023 to try to find a little bit better of a balance between being an athlete and being a content creator. I tend to go from one extreme to the other, where before I was way too focused on content and not focused on racing, and then last year I was way too focused on racing. I think I'm someone who struggles to find balance, and so in 2023, that's something that I'm gonna be working on, and as a result, here we are, back in the race shop. As you guys saw in that commercial, and what you can definitely see behind me right now, the gear company that I've been working with for the last year, Active Co, just released their brand new 2023 winter line, and it is freaking sick. Call me biased, but I genuinely think that this gear is probably the best looking gear on the market right now, and out of all the gear that I have worn, it fits the best, lasts the longest. I absolutely love this stuff. Just in the short year that I've been working with them, the amount of progress and dedication that everyone over at Active Co puts into just making the best performing and best looking gear out there is pretty impressive. I really like those guys, and I'm gonna be wearing their gear for as long as I absolutely can. I just got my shipment of gear in, as you can see. We'll take a look at it real quick. Decided to lay it out for you guys in the race shop. This is the entire new line, plus the brand new Anaheim 1 limited edition kit that just released like 2 days ago. So that stuff is brand new. This is all available up on the website right now, which I will link down in the description. And of course, I have a discount code JWalk for you guys that will get you 10% off. This for sure is my favorite line. They have a whole lot of color, a couple different kinds of blues over here. Lots of red in this drop, which I think is probably pretty good. Red is like the one color that goes universally with every OEM. So lots of good red. They have the Black Friday standard black and white, which is absolutely sick. Some sunset vibes down here, a little bit of pink for the ladies or the real manly men out there. And then, like I said, the polka dot Anaheim 1 limited edition stuff. So 2023 line from Active Co, absolutely dope. Speaking of 2023, what bike are we going to be riding in 2023? This year we were riding the 2022 style KTM 450 SXF. This is the practice bike and the race bike, and the poor two-stroke is still down there all torn apart. And it is time to get ready to sell these things. Why, might you ask? Well, at the end of every season, kind of go through a rotation of bikes. The practice bike has accumulated like 75 hours on it now, and the race bike has about 40, just under 40, I believe. So normally I will sell the practice bike. The race bike will become my new practice bike for the winter and a little bit of the spring. And then I'll basically just replace the practice bike with a brand new race bike, and that's what I will race for the whole 2023 season, practicing on the previous race bike. That is essentially what I did from the 2021 to 2022 season, and it worked out awesome, and that's what I would do this year, except it's kind of a bit of a unique situation where the new 2023 KTM is an entirely brand new engine and chassis, and as a professional racer, I don't feel that it's in my best interest to practice on the old bike and race the new bike. So sadly, that means I kind of have to get rid of both of these bikes and get two of the new KTM, if that's the route that I'm going. And that kind of segues nicely into the other topic of this video. What color will I be on in 2023? Like I said, if the new bike hadn't changed at all, then it obviously makes sense. Only have to sell and purchase one bike. All the parts that I already have would fit right on the new race bike, and everything would be really simple. And when it's that simple, it's kind of hard to justify making a change to a different brand, just because you have to get rid of all your old parts, find all new parts, develop a completely new suspension setup, new engine spec, and everything like that. Plus, just how much I love these bikes. I never even considered changing from a KTM in the first place. I mean, quite simply, I've never felt this comfortable and fast on a bike before, and it obviously showed in my results this year. However, being that the new KTM is pretty much brand new and almost none of the parts transfer over anyways, it's almost as if I am going to a new brand. I'm gonna have to get rid of a bunch of the old KTM parts, which will be listed on MX Locker, by the way, if you guys are interested. The suspension is all different, so I'm gonna have to develop a new suspension setup with turbo speed tuning. Engine is different, gonna need to come up with a new engine package. The plastic, the seat, the wheels, everything, triple clamps, everything is different on the new bike. So it's almost as if I am just going to a whole different OEM. And although I love these bikes a lot, that does kind of open the door to potentially try out some different colors this winter and see if, you know, maybe there's a better option out there for me. Not saying that's the case at all. It's very likely that I'll be on the 2023 orange machine, but I think the worst thing you can do as a professional motocross racer is stay complacent and just get too overly comfortable on one setup and be too afraid to try anything else new. And the last time I rode a different bike was my 2019 Honda that you guys would have remembered. And so it's been a while since I tried anything other than a KTM. When I did the 2020 shootout with Michael Lindsay, I got to ride all the different brands, but that was back in 2020. Since then, the Kawasaki has completely changed and people say that that bike is really good. The Yamaha obviously is brand new for 2023. The Honda went over a complete makeover in 22. So pretty much all the bikes changed and I haven't really gotten a chance to ride them all. So, you know, who knows, maybe I throw my leg over a green bike and that suits me really well and I'm faster on it. You never really know. So if there was ever a time to make a change, this is it. And I'm definitely going to take this opportunity by the horns, and I really want to get down south and try and ride like all the different brands and just kind of feel them out and see, you know, which one I'm most comfortable on and see if making a change is even a possibility for me or if I'm just a KTM guy through and through. I obviously got to ride the new KTM at the 2023 KTM launch at Redbud earlier in the spring of 2022, and I really like the bike, but obviously when you're on a freshly prepped Redbud, I'm pretty sure any dirt bike on the face of this earth is going to feel pretty good, so I can't really base it off of that. And since then I haven't even gotten to ride one. And it's also pretty hard to ignore the success that some of the riders are having on other brands. Obviously, Eli Tomac makes the change to Blue Crew and has the most successful year of his entire pro career, winning the Supercross Championship, Outdoor Championship, and MX of Nations. And then the previous Outdoor Championship was won by Dylan Ferrandis on a Yamaha. So the last 3 450 championships have all been won on a Blue Crew, which is pretty hard to ignore. Obviously the 2023 is a brand new bike as well, so it's not a direct comparison, but obviously you'd like to think that the 2023 will be even better than the 22. Hard to ignore the success that the Lawrence boys and Chase Sexton are having on the Honda. Jet Lawrence winning Supercross and Outdoors, Hunter Lawrence absolutely killing it. Chase Sexton, I would say arguably the fastest dude in Supercross and Outdoors, but just a couple mistakes kind of kept him from winning those championships. And then even Kenny on his, you know, privateer Honda beating Eli Tomac at some of those WSX rounds over in Australia. And of course, Tim Geiser also won the MXGP championship on a Honda. So lots of guys going really fast on the red bike, and then even a Kawasaki. Like, never thought I would consider riding a Kawasaki before, but the success that Jason Anderson had, I mean, this is definitely the best, fastest version of Jason Anderson that we've ever seen, and it was his first year on Cowie. And dude, he made the bike look really good. Even Joey Savacci, when he filled in for AC for a couple rounds of Outdoors, absolutely crushed it. I think he was on the podium a couple times. So you gotta wonder if the Cowie is pretty good as well. So that's kind of where I'm at. I want to just try and ride all of them and just kind of see which one I like the most. Very likely that I'll end up on the 2023 KTM, but I think I would be silly not to try out some options. So we have the MX Locker Ride Day coming up down in Florida, and I intend on trying to ride all the different brands while I'm down there. You know, we have like, what, 6 months before the start of Outdoors. So I think whichever bike I like the most, I'll probably just buy and test out for the next couple of months and compare it to my KTMs. And yeah, we'll go from there. But first things first, we got to go ahead and get the practice bike ready to sell. I'm going to hang on to the race bike for a little bit longer just so I have something to ride in case we get some warm days here or if an impromptu trip comes up. But in this video, definitely going to get the practice bike ready to sell. Whenever I get a fresh bike, I always take all of the stock parts off of it and keep them in this locker over here so that when I go to sell the bike, I then have all the fresh stuff and can put it basically back to brand new stock. So in here I have all the plastic, the seat, the forks, which have never been used, the stock exhaust, all that good stuff. Gonna go through, do a fluid refresh, put some brand new Motul oil in it and some Motul hydraulic fluids, new chain and sprockets, all that sort of stuff, and get this thing completely ready for the next owner. Kind of sad because I love this thing, but I know somebody else will love this thing just as much as I do, and it's on to bigger and better things for me. So I'll probably just throw you guys up on the time lapse while I do all of that. And once that's done, we get to decide what freaking bike we're riding next year. So exciting stuff. I'll throw you guys up on the time lapse. We'll get to work putting this thing back in stock.
Well, is it really worth doing it? I don't know why I
Of course, making this thing look stock again and brand new is the main goal of getting this thing ready to sell. But another reason I like completely taking the thing apart is because I know a lot of people out there just buy a bike and they don't do anything to it before they go ride, and that's super dangerous. Anytime you get a brand new bike, even from the dealership, you should completely grease everything and make sure everything is torqued to spec. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I like to go over my bikes before I sell them. You know, I don't ever want anybody to get a bike from me and have it not be completely 100%. You know, that's a pretty bad look for me, and obviously I don't want anyone to get hurt ever either. So my big thing is I will never sell a bike that I wouldn't race at a pro national the very next day. So we're basically doing a national prep on this thing, obviously swapping parts back to stock, but making sure I re-grease everything and clean everything and torque it all to spec just to make sure it's A+, 100% ready to rip for the next guy.
And maybe I should search for a smile. It'd be nice to talk about things without going back another mile. And with all of this empty space, I'll never fill the void again and find comfort in your place. Now, just hear me out. I don't know where we're headed. Won't talk about you with your wicked words. I've had it out, and that's why I felt this way.
Handlebar and lever setup is one of the most underrated and overlooked parts of setting up your motorcycle, and a lot of people just run it however they get it stock. So I like to make sure that I set up the handlebars and controls exactly how I would race them, just to give the next person, like maybe say they're a beginner and they don't really know how to set it up. I just like to set it up to my spec just to give them a solid base to start on. And even if they never adjusted them again, they would know that, you know, things are pretty set up pretty well. So brand new stock takeoff handlebars and grips. Gonna go ahead and leave some of the Bling Works connection stuff on there just to dress it up a bit, and then go ahead and put the stock never used air forks on. Super important to torque everything correctly when you're putting the front wheel forks and triple clamps back on, and a lot of people don't know how to do it in the correct order. So I'm just making sure all that is lined up beautifully and torqued to spec so that the front forks work as intended.
With your wicked words, I've had it out, and that's why I felt this way. Standing outside of your parents' place, staring at the writing on our hands, and I still know all of our means, those reps that existed.
I am absolutely smoked, guys. Finished getting the bike ready and then decided to hop on and do a little trainer session here. Got my Cannondale System 6 road bike hooked up to the Wahoo trainer, complete with the Pokemon Water Cup. Excellent stuff. I recently got a program called Zwift, which, if you're unfamiliar, it's like a virtual cycling world. And I have just been absolutely grinding the miles away on that thing. The smart trainer that I have like mimics resistance going up and down gradients, and if you're drafting somebody. So probably not too interesting for most of you, but for those of you who do have Zwift, I finally broke the hour record up Alp du Zwift. So very proud of that, but that was definitely a brutal workout, and I'm absolutely smoked now. But anyways, you guys saw, we got the bike completely done. Back in pretty much stock trim. I left a couple of the upgrades on here that I thought were tasteful. Just some little guys like the Works Connection orange rotating clamps for the levers. I left the factory chassis part engine mounts on there. So the two hangers, and then there is over here on the other side, the titanium front mount bolt, so that little piece of jewelry. Left the Cherubies grippy frame guards on there, as well as the under protection just to keep the frame safe. Definitely gonna have to go ahead and clean up the header pipe. But I also left the P3 carbon skid plate on there. Left the upgraded axle and axle blocks from Ride Engineering on there. This is actually a Honda axle with some blocks from Ride Engineering. And then of course, the most important part, we put a Freshy Akrapovic sticker on the silencer. All the stock stuff will also go with the bike. The factory KTM skid plate, Hinson clutch cover, rotor guard, frame guards, countershaft sprocket, and then all the other stock stuff. So whoever gets this machine is getting some pretty solid upgrades, and they're gonna have all the stock stuff to go with it as well. As I said, kind of sad to see it go. This was my training unit that brought me to my best results ever as a professional in the 450 class, and it's gonna be one that I remember forever, but time to hand it off to somebody else to enjoy, and then time to move on to bigger and better things for me. I think my plan with all this stuff is I'm actually working on finally getting some new merch going. Probably what I'll end up doing is once I get the new merch rolling, I'll probably do something where like any orders on the first day will have a chance of getting a random piece of like signed plastic in their order. So I figured that's a cooler way to get rid of some of my plastic than just chucking it in the bin. And maybe there are some of you out there who would like to get their hands on some signed Bang Energy KTM plastic off of my practice bike. I'll probably do the same thing for my race bike whenever I am getting ready to sell that too. So keep your eyes peeled for that. So you guys will have to drop some comments down below what your favorite bike is and what color you want to see the 841 machine in 2023. Still very much a mystery to me, probably orange, but you never really know. Like I said, if there's any time to make a change, this is it. So I fully intend on exploring all my options. I think next video is going to be me down at the MX Locker Ride Day in Florida. I'm gonna do my best to ride all the different brands that I can find down there. I think I'm gonna bring a couple signed jerseys and just walk around the pits and offer them to people in exchange for letting me ride their bike. So we'll see how that goes. Always tough riding someone else's setup when I'm so accustomed to like the tall bar, tall seat, and my suspension setup, which is really stiff. So it's not gonna be a perfect comparison, but it also, you know, is not financially possible for me to go and buy every brand and set it up perfectly for me. So gotta do what I gotta do, but I think that's an even more telling tale. If I'm super comfortable on one of those bikes with someone else's setup on it, then, you know, it'll only get better with my own setup on it. So trying to think if there's anything else important that I have to tell you guys. Check out the active gear, like I said earlier. And hopefully this is the start of a steady stream of videos on the channel. 2023, there will be more content, including the poor two-stroke back there. We're finally gonna get to work on that thing. So we will catch you in the next one, and big things coming for 2023. So hope you guys enjoyed. Peace out.